family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above par. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health is here, we got it. Reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to CTR Media Network TV. CTR Nation, we are back again with another amazing guest. And today we have the phenomenal woman backstage all the way from the Gold Coast, Australia. Yes, Sasha Eburne. She is the ultimate example of what happens when you stop waiting, start backing yourself, and go all the way in. Sasha went from landing her first client in just 24 hours to building a thriving team of 15 in 6 months. Yes, you heard me correctly. She built this team in just 6 months. Now she's on a mission to help ambitious women worldwide step into their CEO era, create consistent income without the burnout, and build businesses that bring freedom and fulfillment. This conversation is going to be fire for every entrepreneur, content creator, and entrepreneur tuning in today. So buckle up, because this episode is going to shift the way you see business and success forever. So let's welcome to the show, the amazing Sasha Eburne. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. What an amazing introduction.
Oh, listen, it's just what you do. It's just what you do. So I'm so happy to have you here, because we do have a lot of moms that watch the show, and what you have been able to do, being a mom and transitioning from what you were doing all the way into being your own CEO, and then scaling to build a team, which is something that can prove very difficult for most to build a team. So I am really excited about diving into this information. But what I want to do first is take you back. I want to take you back. What was the mindset that you needed to have in order for you to shift that gave you the courage, I would say, to go ahead and go all the way in?
I think it was, do you know what? What it came down to was I just saw the opportunity. After I got that first client, I could just see all the opportunities. I could see people asking for help, and I had the mindset that if I had all the time in the world, rather than trying to juggle my 9 to 5 plus my one client that I'd gotten, if I literally just had lots of conversations every single day, all day, every day, that eventually I could get to more clients. And I think it was more of I might as well try, because what is the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is I go and look for another job. And thankfully that didn't happen, but it was just more about that I saw the opportunity and I was looking. And then I know a lot of people kind of juggle with that side hustle bit in the beginning, and they're like, oh, I'm in this side hustle, but I can't really go and tell everybody. But once I'd kind of cut that cord from the full-time job, I was just like, well, I can tell everybody. I can put it all over social media. I can tell everybody on LinkedIn. So then everyone knows exactly what I'm doing. And that's kind of where a lot of the things snowballed, because people are like, oh, actually, I need a virtual assistant, or, so really kind of cutting that slate clean gave me that opportunity to have a lot more word of mouth conversations as well.
You're so right. When I think about, you have to have that mindset to go all in, but most of the time when you first start a business and you're doing that transition, you're a little bit nervous. You don't know quite if it's going to work or not. You don't want to really put yourself out there, because you're like, what if I fail? Everybody going to see me fall. And, all these different ideas that we have about when we are transitioning from a traditional job to entrepreneurship. And the fact that you made a decision early on to go all the way in after you just received that first client. But what was it that, because that was remarkable. But then when you think about, okay, how did you go from, okay, I have this one client and I'm going to build me a team of 15 people right off from the beginning? Like, what in the world? Like, what made you transition to that so quickly?
It sounds like it was quick, but I think it felt like longer because I'd got to fully booked in 3 weeks and I was maxed out in hours. And then it actually took me some time to actually learn how to do it, because a lot of people are like, oh, don't bring on a team. That's just not going to work. That's just going to be too hard. And then there was the conversation about, do I hire an employee versus a contractor? Can I really do it? So there was probably, maybe a month of I just don't know what to do. And hiring an employee compared to a contractor, there's so many different laws and rules and regulations. And in Australia, we have so many loopholes that even if they're a contractor, depending upon the amount of hours that they have, irrespective of the contract, they can be seen as an employee. And there's all this extra things that you have to know. So it was coming down to talking to the right people. And then pretty much once I'd made the conscious decision to be like, we're going to have a team, it kind of just snowballed. But I think it really snowballed because I got really good at sales and building relationships. And then it was kind of like I secured all these clients, and then I'm like, okay, well, I need a team to service them. And I kind of played the chicken and egg thing. I kind of went with the second one first, and then I had to kind of backtrack to be like, oh crap, I need a team now. But it did kind of take that month to kind of make that conscious decision to do it right, because you, especially when there's legal involved and contracts, like I just didn't want to do it wrong, because I'm just like, everything's riding on this, my clients, my reputation, all of the above. So, we did grow really fast, but it's kind of always been that drive. Like I'd always felt like I was an entrepreneur in an employee's body. And once I kind of realized that I could have that freedom and that flexibility of running my own business, it was just like, well, the sky's the limit. Let's just keep on going.
You know what? I love the phrase that you just said, and I haven't heard anyone say that thus far other than you. You was an employee in an entrepreneur body or something like that. You just said.
Entrepreneur and an employee. Entrepreneur and an
employee body. That's it. The entrepreneur in an employee's body.
Yeah.
I feel that a lot of people can identify with that, because sometimes the life that we're living is not the life that we envision for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so for ones that are watching right now, and you're needing that confirmation, you're needing trying to figure out, like, should I or shouldn't I? And you've been thinking about this for a while. Sasha is the perfect example of going all the way in and understanding, as you heard her, she didn't have it all figured out. No. See, we be thinking that we have to have everything figured out, but let's talk about that a bit, because you said, no, you didn't have it all figured out. So as you were saying, you're trying to figure out about the independent contractors, employees, the different laws that are in Australia versus what you had to, maybe in the United States is maybe not the same as in Australia, how they view things with the legal things. So what gave you the confidence, despite all the different little nuances that could go wrong, that you kept on moving forward? Because you basically was juggling your life, you're juggling your family, and now you have this new business, which is a whole different baby by itself. So how did you keep that going?
I really was always, and still am, just, I'm going to try it. And, very much when I was just like, I'm going to go all in, I'm going to try it. And that was the same with the team. I'm just like, okay, I've done my due diligence. I've worked out what sort of type of contractor I need, and I'm just going to try it. And actually, what's the worst that can happen? And I think sometimes we think that it can be really bad, but if we actually looked at it, it's just like, well, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, maybe they make a mistake and a client's not happy. Okay, cool. Well, I just have to deal with that. That's part of business. So with any decision that I've made in my business, a lot of times when I've researched it, I've also sought help from people that have done it before. And then I'm just like, I'm just going to try it. And rather than, if it doesn't work, being like spiraling and be like, oh, maybe I should go back to my 9-to-5 job. It's kind of let's just pivot in the business. Let's find a different solution. And it's all in learnings. And I learned that really early on, because when I was just figuring it all out, and still figuring it all out, let's be honest, every single day it changes. It's just like, I'm just going to try it and just change it and be okay with that. And just rather than I failed, rather than it's a learning and I get to try something else next time.
That I love that, because at the end of the day, you guys, just try it. Like, let me piggyback off of Nike saying, just do it. Okay. Everybody know that's their slogan. That's their slogan. Everybody know that's for the check. So so now you're going to understand and think about just try it from Sasha. Okay. You just need to try it. Yeah. Okay. And understand that as entrepreneurs, we're figuring out a lot of things as we go. And any entrepreneur that's not telling you this, they're not telling you the truth. Because I don't know any entrepreneur on the face of the planet that has everything figured out.
Exactly.
There is no possible way, because it's things that you know, and then it's things that come about as you know that you know, but then it's some things that's going to come in the equation that you just don't know. All right. Yeah. And be comfortable with that. Be flexible with that. And like she said, seek help from individuals that do know what you do not know. And so you are really building this confidence for moms to be able to, what you call the CEO era. You want them to step into their CEO era. So what exactly does that mean for them to step into the CEO era?
Yeah, so a bit of context. Obviously, when I started my business, I was a virtual assistant, and within 4 months, I decided that I was going to teach other people to do it, primarily women and mums. And that's very much what we do today, is teach them, one, how to start their business, and then it's kind of moving past that. So what I find, especially with women, is they jump into business and they do it all. And then they're also doing work that they don't like to do, and they keep saying yes to clients that they don't want to work with. Rather than, okay, you get to be the CEO. And by being the CEO, that means you get to do what you want, when you want, how you want, no need to seek for permission. So rather than trying to do everything in your business, is work out what it is that lights you up, what gets you out of bed every day, what's the impact that you want to make, and stick to those and get support for all the things that you don't want to do, but also find the people that want to do those things, so it lights them up, so that everybody is happy, everybody is getting up every day and doing exactly what they love, and that's their zone of genius. And that stepping up to the CEO is you get to lead and support everybody else to kind of step up. Whereas a lot of people feel like, oh, but it's my business, I have to do everything. But actually giving other people opportunity to kind of step up within your business kind of just grows that culture within your business. And isn't it great that we, as a CEO, we just get to do what we want every single day? Don't do the stuff that you don't want to do. Otherwise you'll become resentful of your business, and you'll kind of feel like that you've just created another 9-to-5 job. It's just in your own home or on your own terms. So I'm really passionate about creating that CEO era where you just get to choose every single day. You get to choose you.
I love it, because you're right. I think we're trained in a way to think that when you first start a business, you absolutely have to do every single thing. It is a very common thing that everyone comes in with the acceptance of, okay, I'm accepting in the beginning when I don't have a team, I'm gonna have to do X, Y, Z, and I don't know how long it's gonna take before I can get someone else to do LMNOP. Okay, and so I just don't know. But I love the way how you coming in the picture, how you're saying, okay, you're becoming this CEO to be able to add value not only to other people but also to your life as well. So why are you going to basically duplicate what you didn't like working for somebody else for yourself? Why do we do that? So that is absolutely amazing. So I love how you're helping moms to be able to see, not just telling them, CEO era, but actually breaking it down in bite-sized pieces that they can handle, so that they can have this scalable business, because you can't truly scale until you bring on a team that is qualified to do the things that you need them to do. So what were some of the biggest mindset blocks you think that a woman will have as she starts her entrepreneurship journey? What's some things that you have saw that's common with the women that you work with that they had to like try to overcome?
Yeah, great question. The two big ones are, am I good enough?
Mm.
And am I worthy enough? And that has stemmed from generational, or the way that they've grown up, or very much we got told by our parents, like, kids are meant to be seen, not heard, all of those things, and really kind of narrowed down. In Australia, tall poppy syndrome is a big problem, where people will see somebody else's success and bring it down to make themselves feel better about it. So I think, it's a lot of people have this fear of success because of how that would look, or like, rich people are greedy, or lots of stories that they've been told. So some people struggle to, show up on social media because of fear of judgment or things like that. But what it comes down to is the fear of, I'm not good enough to be able to do this. So it's really about teaching them a lot more of that self-trust, belief in self, to be like, rather than looking at somebody else to be like, oh, well, that's them, they're different, they're special, they can do it. Looking and actually we're all the same. But, most of it, we're females, is actually looking at it and be like, damn, if they can do it, I can do it. So that's really what I support my clients with, to step into that. And actually, the only competition is themselves yesterday, and just keep on trying to be better than that, and forget about everybody else, and know that you are. Like, we're all born worthy, and somewhere along the line, we decided that we were unworthy based upon an incident or something that happened throughout our lives. So really kind of taking that back and reframing that to be like, no, I was born worthy. I can do this, and I have the belief in myself to actually create what I want to create.
You're absolutely right. And I like the way you said we have to reframe our mind, because we come into the world, we're worthy from the beginning, from the first breath that we take. Yes. We are worthy. But then, like you said, something happens in between this thing that we call life that make us second guess, make us feel like we're not that person that is worthy. And so when you said reframe the mind, I know that you are a certified NLP practitioner. So can you kind of explain to the audience what is NLP, and how does that actually help in incorporating with your business?
Yeah, so NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. And what that essentially does is it allows us to retrain the mind and the unconscious to change the way that we see and believe and hear things as well. So rather than the limiting beliefs coming up to be like, I am not good enough, based upon the processes that we can go through in NLP, automatically it's a reframe, or we actually stop saying that to ourselves. So we live in abundance, everything is perfect. And rather than say something happening or a smell or a sound and triggers a past experience, rather than having a negative effect on our body or a negative thought, then we'd be like, yep, that happened and I'm cool with that. And, really showing that in every situation in our lives that kind of happened, that we know and understand that in those situations that everybody was doing the best that they could with the resources that we had. And it allows us to reframe those situations so we don't have a negative trigger around it, because a lot of people stick to their story. And a lot of people are like, this happened to me and I'm this and I'm the victim and I'm this. So we get to support them to have positive frame around a lot of situations, to be like, that happened and now I get to learn from it and now I get to move forward. So the more work that we do, the more resources that we have in our unconscious, that if something happens or we don't get that client, that we just get to be like, that's great. It's opening up an opportunity for a new client. So, it takes a while to make those changes, but having a lot more resources in our tool belt to ensure that we don't spiral and that we can reframe and essentially live our life in abundance rather than a lack mentality.
Yes, and that's so important, because even if things have happened or has happened to you in your past, you should not allow that to be the defining moment in your life that you carry on to the end of your life. I hear so many people speak that type of stuff over their life and wonder why things are not working the way it's supposed to work for them, why they keep experiencing the same type of things. Is because we have to be very careful what we think and what we say. And I was like, if we just pay attention just a little bit more of what we say and what we think, our life can either change for the good or the bad. And I tell people that let's be positive, because you want your life to change for the better, because we do have within us the ability to make whatever we want happen with positivity. Let's talk a little bit about the strategy behind scaling the business, because this is another problem that business owners in general, whether you're a content creator, podcast, or entrepreneur, have, which is how to scale up. Because you brought us through when you first started your business, getting that very first customer, then you took us on the journey of hiring or doing independent contractors or employees with the first 15 people, then also dealing with the laws and all the different things that's around wherever your jurisdiction at. Like, you got to deal with this, and then also having people within your circle that knows more than you. So then when you hit a place where you don't know something, you can ask them for help. And now we have all that straight, thanks to Sasha. Now we're going on, can we really scale this business? Now we have the people in place, we have all of this, right? So scaling the business, how can we scale the business without all the, I would say, chaos that can happen with a business? What is one thing that they can do?
Simplify. Like, we don't need to overcomplicate it. Simplifying, and that comes down to systems, double handling. How can we look at exactly how it is and be like, can we improve this, and can we make it less steps? Can we use tech to automate it? But really just simplifying things will be key, because sometimes if we overcomplicate them, there's too many processes, things will take longer and harder to get there. So yeah, simplification is key. And I guess consistency as well. A lot of people jump in and be like, oh, this isn't working, I'm going to change it. Well, things can work eventually over time, and it's that compounding effect. You know, it's kind of like what they say with the algorithm in Instagram is, if you post every day for 5 days, cool, you're not going to get any clients. If you post every day for 5 days for 3 or 4 months, people will start seeing you. You'll start being seen and heard. So yeah, simplification and consistency is key when we're scaling our business.
All right. So that was some good advice. So I want to talk a little bit to my podcasters and content creators that watch the show. I want to give them a little tidbit. So when I'm thinking about the podcasters and the content creators specifically, what strategy can they use to turn their passion into a consistent income? Because at the end of the day, they don't have any problem with building content like the average person. The problem is having income that's generated from that content. That's the problem. That's the disconnect. So do you have one suggestion for that?
I would say the biggest suggestion is networking, is actually having the real conversations with people that potentially can get you the income. And a lot of people kind of hold back. They're like, oh, I don't want to ask them, or I don't want to pedestal them. And it's actually Alex Hormozi that says that if you don't have any income, there should be no shame in actually opening up conversations, because the worst that they can say is no, and then you just get to move on to somebody else. But if you don't have the conversations, you're not opening up the opportunities. So you have to go out there and get the opportunities. You have to pay to be in the rooms with the people that you want to work with, and just showing up all the time. So, if you're creating all this amazing content, that's great, because that's going to back you when they see you. But actually having really organic conversations, being in the rooms and networking, and even getting involved in forums on Facebook groups and kind of elevating your expertise is essential, because content will only take you so far, but that's the social proof. That's the backing of your expertise. You really need to open up those conversations. And I always say clients are not going to fall from the sky. You have to go out and find them, and you have to be consistent with showing up in front of them, because if they don't know who you are, if they can't see you, how do they know that they can work with you? So go out there and shout from the rooftops who you are, what you do, and how you can help people.
That's true. And so let's go into what you actually do, Sasha. So I know we're speaking about a lot of different things and different tips and strategies that you gave them, but how can what you do help maybe a podcaster, entrepreneur, a content creator be able to scale, or be able to, I would say, build their business with less chaos?
Yeah.
Less chaos.
Yeah. So I guess the way that I help people initially in the beginning is all customized coaching. So it's about, well, what is their business and what is their goals? and how can we craft the business around them? So I talk about a me first business. So what does life look like for them in 5-10 years? Then we reverse engineer their business for that. So if their idea of freedom and impact is, potentially being in the Bahamas, having Stripe notifications come in every day and working very minimal, then we want to build the systems and the foundations to get there. And that really stems to where they are in business. And sometimes a lot of people are like, I'm ready to scale, but they might not have the foundations in place. So we need to make sure that the business can support the scalability first. So it's a lot of reverse engineering, a lot of mastery of the foundations, because if they're going to scale and they don't have the infrastructure in their business to sustain that level of leads and level of inquiries and level of work, then we have to go back and do the work. So really, we take a holistic view at everybody's business and work out what holes that we need to plug, if there's any basis of foundations that we need to build before we scale up, but everything has that end goal in mind. So I always say to my clients, is that $1 million decision or a broke-ass decision? Because we need to be making those decisions now for the future. Otherwise, in 5 years' time, we're still going to be making those decisions that are not going to bring in the revenue that we desire to create that me first business.
That's true. That's true. And so if you had to give one piece of advice to someone who is ready to get started right now, but they still feel afraid, what would it be?
Everybody is afraid when they start. So know that it's a completely normal feeling, but also it's probably not a scared or a afraid feeling. It's probably it's a fear of unknown. It's a stepping into the unknown. So I really encourage my clients to look at what's out there and actually see that there's actually all these other people that have gone first. So follow the people that have gone first and I guess take a leaf out of their book to be like, well, if they had the belief, just borrow the belief for a moment to be like, oh, well, if they believed in themselves, I could borrow and just borrow it until such time as you develop it yourself. But also know that, like I said, everybody else has gone first. So you just need to follow the footsteps. And it's kind of like, they talk about like the marathon runners, everyone thinks that this is kind of the benchmark and then somebody goes and does it and they go further and then everybody else starts getting going further or beating that, like the record. So it's kind of that same thing, is just take the next step and follow in the footsteps of people that have gone before you to ensure that you're just like, well, it's not really this scary zone because everybody else has done it. So feel the fear and do it anyway.
Awesome. Sasha, tell our viewing and listening audience a little bit about your business, how they can connect with you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I hang out on Instagram most days on Sasha Eburne __. Always happy for a voice note chat, drop in, say hi. Predominantly, there's two ways that I like to work with my clients. Is we have two signature programs. We have our high level coaching program, which is a 12-month experience where you get to come in, we get to really ensure that those foundations are in place to the scalability. And we love to include a lot of in-person experiences with that as well. We've just recently had our Bali retreat as well, where we got to connect with everybody else in the program, and a lot of connection offline as well as online, which I think is really cool that we get to do that. Then for those just getting started, we offer a 12-week program, and that is essentially all the things from actually how to start, the legalities that we spoke about, through to marketing and actually positioning yourself in the market. There's a lot of shorter courses, far and few between, if people just want to dip their toes in and kind of experience what it would be like to working with me. But they're the sort of the main two, the getting started and then the scaling program.
That sounds absolutely amazing. Is there anything else you would like to share with our viewing and listening audience that we may have not touched, but you feel that it's important for them to know?
Could be anything, really. I think just maybe get them to kind of look inside themselves. And if there's that niggling inside them that they were meant for something else, just go and try something else. Go and try it on for size. It's like when you're buying a new dress, you go in and try it on. And like when it feels good, you might buy it. So just try something on for size and see where it takes you, because it can really go anywhere.
Well, Sasha, I would like to thank you so much for coming on and telling us all about it, and in particular, speaking to the moms, because as moms, we juggle many different hats. We have to be the mom, the cheerleader, the nurse, the doctor, the confidant, the friend. Like we wear all these hats, and then we add on one more, entrepreneurship, but helping them to see that you can do it. So get rid of those self-limiting disbeliefs about yourself and get with somebody who can actually help you be able to map through all of those things that's holding you back in your mind, and for sharing your story at the end of the day, because I know that this story is going to help so many other moms that probably she holding her baby on her hip right now, cooking on the stove and everything else, and saying, I've been wanting to start this business for how many years? This could be the video, the interview that make her say, wait a minute, I'm going to do it today.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it today because I appreciate you taking the time to help us moms get it together, child. Get it together.
Thank you so much. It was lovely chatting with you.
It was amazing chatting with you two as well. You guys, listen, we have an event coming up that in Columbia, South Carolina, October the 11th, and we want you to come. We're going to be talking about all about media and wealth. And just as Sasha was talking about in her discussion with us today, I knew that I needed help. Okay. And so I reached out to a woman business owner and like, listen, can we put on this event together? And she said yes. So I speak about, and my team speak about the media side, and Michelle's side teach about about the wealth side. So come together to help you be able to understand what media is, how it can help you with your business. And she also talk about personal credit as well as business credit, as well as funding. And her teams talk about wealth building and how you can actually do it from a personal perspective and also a business perspective. So go to ctrmedianetwork.com and get your ticket today. If you can't be at the event, no problemo. You can become a sponsor, or you can become a swag bag sponsor, and we can put your business cards or whatever it is that you want inside the bag so that you can be in front of 350 people ready to take action. Today, we had the amazing Sasha Eburne. She was so amazing with helping us moms, but of course, dads, you can benefit too. Okay. Where she talked about from solo mom to CEO, building freedom-based businesses, mindset shift, and sustainability. Go check her out and take action today. You can go to Sasha Eburne. That's SashaEburne.com and step boldly into your CEO era and start building that freedom-based business you deserve. And as always, if you're ready to share your story and your expertise with the world, book your interview with CTR Media Network TV today. Let's keep growing. Let's keep creating and keep making an impact, because here at CTR Media Network TV, we don't just dream it. We do it. Until next time, keep shining and keep walking in your purpose. I'll talk to you same time, same place next week. Have a good day.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.